Yeah, so I'm a ex-principal of a school in New Zealand, Aotearoa, New Zealand. Um, I did that for 6 years. I've been teaching for 35 years from year 13, which is secondary school, right through to 3 and 4 year olds. At the moment, I relief teach. I go into schools when the teachers are sick. That's what I've been doing today. I get called on an app and I go into the schools and I run the class because I'm nearly retired.
Yes. So now my students would like to ask you some questions related to your country's education system and some other aspects. So
my name is Rohita Girija. I am in 9th grade. Shall I ask one question, ma'am? How often do you change textbooks meant for secondary and primary students?
Okay, it depends on the subject. Some of the exercise books are textbooks are quite old. Probably about every level, every year they go up, they get a different book. So yeah, they change according to what class and ability.
Thank
I say,
you.
yeah. So it varies.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello.
My name is Ram Lakshmi. I am in 9th grade. Can I ask one question, ma'am?
Yes.
What is the role of technology in New Zealand schools?
Oh, by the way, you speak very clearly and perfectly. You get my top vote so far for clarity. Sorry, can you just say the question again about technology? Some schools have bring your own devices. The children bring their devices from home right through from primary school. Most schools have one device between maybe 2 or 3, and it's only part of the program. And secondary, every child, or intermediate, that's year 7 and up, have their own devices. So technology is a really important. They start doing computer skills from 5-year-olds.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very good English, by the way, Lakshmi.
My name is Meghna. I am studying 9th grade. Could you please tell me about the examination system in your schools?
Okay, so we don't have exams until year 11, 10, 11, sorry, 11, and 11, 12, and 13. So that's about 15, 16, and 17. And they have national exams. So in year 9, they sit school-wide exams, but not national exams until they are, until there's about 16 or 16, 17, and 18. And the national exams. Part of that is exam set for 3 hours, and part of it is terms work. Okay.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello.
My name is Bhavana. I am in 9th grade. Can I ask one question, ma'am?
Yes, you can.
Why is the New Zealand schools are best education?
New Zealand schools don't actually have the best education. Finland is much better than New Zealand. We have different schools are more successful. So the richer schools in the better areas do much better than the poorer schools because the children have more supportive families. So it very much depends on which school you go to in New Zealand. So, for instance, my children went to a middle range, middle income type school. One of them got a scholarship to a private school, and he did much better. Yeah. So it very much depends on whether you go public or private and what area the school services.
Thank you.
Hello.
My name is Rohini Kranti. I am in 9th grade. Can I ask one question, ma'am?
Yes, you can.
What schools are popular in your country?
We have public schools, and we also have private schools. To go to the private schools costs a lot of money. Sometimes one in New Plymouth, where I live, costs 35,000 New Zealand dollars to go to. for 1 year. So most children go to public school or religious schools like Catholic school or Anglican school. Does that answer your question?
So, Janine, as you have told that it requires a lot of money to send the children to the private schools. So, by
Yes.
and large, what is the mindset of the parents? Do they incline to send their children to the private schools or public schools, even though it is a expensive affair to send the children to the private schools? So what is
Well,
the mindset of the parents?
the parents want the best for their children, because in the state schools you get some quite bad behaviours at the moment from COVID, because we had such big lockdowns. We have children who throw desks. About a week ago, I had a child throw a desk, turn up his desk and then punch a couple of kids. So that's why the parents choose private schools, so that their children can get better group of friends to go with and better education, because not so many distractions.
Private education system, as you have told that a private education system is doing well in your country compared to the public school sector. So has not the government realized the fact that is there any change that they can make in order to work on par with the private schools?
The problem is, with some of the private schools do get funding from the government. They're called integrated schools, but generally our state schools, the kids can do just as well. So my daughter became an honours student from an ordinary state school. My son also got honours from a private school. So they can do it. Depends on the student and how good the student works. Yeah, really.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
My name is Bhargavi. I am in 9th grade. Can I ask one question, ma'am?
Yes.
What is the quality of education in New Zealand?
Yeah, like I said, it depends on what we call it decile. So if you come from a rich area in New Zealand, it's a decile 10. If it's a really poor area, it's decile 1. So that if you go to a high decile school, you generally get a better education because the families are more supportive and whatnot. So it varies very much, even from in one town, from school to school. Generally, in the better schools, the parents are very supportive and they get better teachers because there's less disruptive kids. Yeah. So we have a variety. Some schools are not so good, other schools are excellent. So it just depends on the area that you live, because you can't necessarily, in say our biggest city, Auckland, you can't go to a school outside your area there, because you have to go to the school that's in your area unless you go to private school. Okay.
Is the Kiwis English language a bit different from the other English speaking countries' language? Do you have any local terminology that you use only within New Zealand?
You mean local dialect?
Yeah, yes, exactly.
Yeah. What's happened in New Zealand is because the indigenous people got put down, and they've got a long history of being put down, so that they're trying to revive the Maori language. So now our English has now got a lot of Maori words in to try and save the Maori language.
So can you introduce one word or two words of Maori language?
Yeah, haere mai, which means welcome. Kia ora is also welcome. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. That's a welcome to New Zealand in Māori.
Okay, your pet cat is so cute.
Yeah, he's a bit naughty.
Hi, ma'am. My name is Akshay Krishna. I am in 9th grade. Shall I ask one question, ma'am?
Yes.
Do you have elective system in your schools?
Yeah, so some schools run on electives. So in high school, the students can choose what they want to do and they follow that path. In other schools, you have to do a base course in year 9 of English, maths, science, social studies, Māori, and PE, and science, and then about year 10, 11, you can start choosing different sorts of languages, but they always have electives as well that you can opt into, like computer science clubs and things like that, and drama. But that sort of happens about year 11 in New Zealand.
Thank you, ma'am.
So Janine, have you seen the uniform that these girls are wearing?
Yeah, these girls are speaking very well, much better, nice
Oh,
and slowly.
I mean a uniform. Actually, they are wearing the same.
Oh, yeah, very nice uniform. It looks very good. Beautiful.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello.
My name is Chandru Pallavi. I am studying 9th grade. Can I ask one question, ma'am?
You can.
What subject do students learn at school?
So in primary school, we teach everything: maths, reading, writing, science, social studies ourselves. In intermediate, they start having specialist teachers for languages and electives and metalwork, woodwork, things like that. In high school, they have basic course of maths, science, English, social studies, what else is there? PE, and then they have one or two electives as well. And then as they go further on, they can be more specific in what they want to do.
Thank you, ma'am.
Very good English, by the way.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
So Janine, these days robotics, coding are the two subjects that I think all the schools around the world, they are trying to include these two subjects in their national curriculum. So don't you think that these two subjects are part of your curriculum? Coding
Yes.
that is yes.
Yeah. So some schools have robotics and do computer science very well, but most schools don't have enough. Yeah, that's better.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
This is Varindaya. I am studying 9th grade. Can I ask one question, ma'am?
Yes, you can.
Who designs textbooks in your country?
So different firms, we have a we kind of don't use textbooks in the primary so much. We tend to use websites like what's called Twinkle, which are teachers that write material and the teachers pay into it and download whatever they need. There's different firms have teachers that write the materials to suit the whatever they want, and the schools buy into that. Different schools have different books basically. So there's a thing here called Prime Maths, for example, and the book fits with the child's ability in maths. So if you are very good at maths, you get a harder book, and if you're not so good at maths, you get an easier book. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hi, ma'am. My name is Roshmala. I'm studying 9th grade. Shall I ask one question, ma'am?
Yes, your English is very good, by the way.
How often do you train teachers?
So in New Zealand, to be a primary teacher, you have to go to university and do a bachelor's degree, then do a year at education. Sorry, 2 years practice in a school before you become a teacher, and then every year you have to. Every teacher, even me, has to pass a whole lot of criteria to be accepted, to keep going as a teacher, to stay registered. So it's ongoing training. But so you have to have a bachelor's degree in New Zealand, but for secondary teaching, they prefer a master's degree, which is an extra year, so 4 or 5 year degree. Okay.
Thank you.
So, and yeah, you can do that where some teachers train online as well. Okay.
Thank you, teacher.
Excellent English. Very good English, by the way.
Thank you, teacher.
Janine, what kind of job opportunities are there for Indians? As you have already told me that many Indians and hereby many Indians influx is taking place in your country. Many Indians are keep coming to your country, and they are migrating and they are settling in your country. what kind of job opportunities are there for the young kids in order to
Okay.
make their way to your country?
Right, so they basically, I've just helped an Indian family come here, and they're arriving on the 2nd of November. The lady is working in early childhood, teaching under fives, and she has a master's degree. So yeah, the most common name in New Zealand is now Singh, S-I-N-G-H. And many Indians, like I had half of my class the other day, were from the Punjab. Indians from the Punjab. Their parents are mainly engineers, doctors, nurses, some tradespeople, educators. But for education, you need basically to get to New Zealand, you have to have quite a master's or at least a good bachelor's degree, and also sit a special test called IELTS, which is a reading, writing, speaking test. But if you want to get to New Zealand, maybe arranged marriage might be for the girls. Many Indians here bring over their brides in arranged marriages. That's probably the easiest pathway. Otherwise, nursing or we've got a real short supply of nurses at the moment. And for men, engineer, trades, doctor, nurse as well. Yeah.
So, Jeninder, what is the retirement age for the teachers or the employees working in the public sector in your country?
We're supposed to retire at 65, but it's not compulsory. Like I'm going to be 65 in January, but I'm still going to keep teaching next year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so some of us are relieving right into 75.
So, what kind of health insurance or what kind of pension benefits that an employee can avail after retirement?
Okay, so we have when you work in New Zealand, you have to put into KiwiSaver, which is you have to save 3% of your salary, and it builds up, and your employer matches that, and the government gives you $500 a year. But also most people, so when you retire, for one person, they get $400 a week, regardless of whether they work or not, and that carries on. For a couple, it's about $600 a week. Mm-hmm. And in old age, our healthcare is free. The only thing that's not free is dental care.
Okay. So having worked with many Indians so far, as you have taught many Indian students, and you have many Indian neighbors. So you must have got an opinion about the Indian psychology and the Indians' mannerism. So could you please tell us about something about the Indian behavior?
Okay, I'll be completely truthful. I think that some of the boys are very spoiled.
Yes.
Some of the little boys are treated a bit like princes and maybe not so disciplined as the girls. The girls are very motivated and hardworking, but some of the boys are a little bit naughty, especially the little boys. But as they get older, they also are very hardworking. So all the students I had today, I had 6 Indian boys in my class and 4 Indian girls, and they're always polite and hardworking. But when they're little, like under 5, sometimes the boys are a bit naughty, and you see the mothers and fathers struggling with them because I think they're not so hard on the boys. Mm-hmm. But I think most Indians come out here and they do very well. I was talking to someone the other day who did my curtains, and he came out from the Punjab. He's now owns 2 houses, and he's buying his 3rd house here, and he's running a business, and he's very thorough and very good. And he's about to set up his own another business. Okay. So in New Zealand, you can, after 3 or 4 years, you can own a house, and if you're working hard with a business, you do very well. Yeah.
So could you please guide my students, because these are the kids, they are going to be global citizens. That means at one point of time in their future, they might migrate to any developed countries like USA or Canada or maybe New Zealand or Australia in future. What kind of skills they need to imbibe with them in order to migrate to some other countries and just for to try their luck there in their foreign soils?
Okay, they must have a clean criminal record, no crimes and not being locked up or anything in prison. So do nothing wrong. They must get the highest degrees that they can, so the best education that they can, and also when they get to their countries like New Zealand, be willing to integrate with the population, plus also keep their Indianness as well. So you keep with your faith or your friends, but you also must learn to interact with the Europeans and the Maori people or the people in the country as well, not just stay isolated.
Yeah.
But basically get the best education they can by working the hardest and getting the best marks here.
Yeah. So in New Zealand, how friendly the people are. In India, I think if you visit any place in India, the Indians greet the foreigners wherever you go. So how do the New Zealand people treat the Indians in your country?
Most people are okay. Some families, people are racist. We have quite a lot of racism here, but we have they can be prosecuted. So if someone calls you a name at work, that's a put down, or if you're stopped from doing things by your boss because of your color or ethnicity, then you can go to the race relations conciliator and they can be fined many thousands of dollars, and their names get published in the paper, their business. So in New Zealand, there is a tendency for some to be racist. So especially the Europeans, but generally, like a lot of my friends prefer to rent to Indian families because they know that their rent's going to come in. They look after the house and things like that.
So your country is featured among the corruption-free countries among the world. So your country is known for corruption-free. So how your country is maintaining its domination as a corruption-free country?
Okay, so because it's a democracy, yeah, we have many agencies that protect the rights of the individual, and like you have to, if you're in Parliament, you have to declare your interest in any of the things. So for instance, if your firm was going for a contract from the government, you can't be involved with it. And things like that. You have to declare your interests. There's very many laws in our country that are held quite strictly about corruption. So, but we have white collar crime here as well, but it's just not as obvious as in some countries. Yeah.
Yeah. So lastly, I have a few questions here. Because being an educator, I want to know the local practices. Do the teachers working in the private or public sector or the primary and the secondary schools need to plan their lessons every day when they enter the classroom? Before they enter the classroom, they need to plan their lessons and they need to submit the lessons to the head teacher?
Yeah. So what happens is you usually do a year-long plan, and we tend to work with other teachers in groups. So if you're in the junior school, they plan together, and then you do your own lesson plan. So yes, you have to do them weeks in advance, and you don't have to submit them, but they have to be available for the government agency to check on them, and also to be marked to be a registered teacher, you have to get them signed off. And you also get observed twice a year by your principal to make sure, and they also do walkthroughs and whatnot as well. So they set guidelines that what you've got to do. There's a curriculum, but you have to do your own plans for the actual individual lessons.
Yeah,
it's lots of work. Teachers here do about 80 hours of work and about 25 or 5 days. 25 hours actual teaching.
Yes. So teaching at a primary school is always a big task and it's challenging. So primary school, dealing with the kids at the primary level is always challenging for the teachers. So unless the teacher is innovative and to show his passion, and the teaching at primary level is not going to be that much easy. So
yeah,
being an experienced teacher, and you have worked in almost all departments, and so what kind of qualities does a primary school teacher should obtain in order to teach the students effectively?
Okay, so you need to be a Bollywood actor. You need to fake it, even if you're not confident, you fake it till you make it. You make it fun, you try and use as many different technologies as you can. You try and make it interesting. In my school, I had the same students for 4 years. So things had to be different all the time to keep them engaged. And yeah, we had some of the highest academic standards or results from any of the schools in New Zealand, from just a small school. Just because, yeah, I put a lot of effort in and whatnot. Some teachers don't put so much effort in, and then they have some problems. But we also have special needs kids in our classes. Sometimes they get a teacher aide with them. One boy today, he kept on standing up and yelling, "Oh, you're useless, you're a boss, you're nasty," and all that. So I just ignored him. But he has a teacher aide with him most of the time. He did try to push me over, and I just moved out of the way. So we're not allowed to restrain children. So if a child throws a big temper tantrum and throws chairs and desks around, we have to take the children out of the class. We're not allowed to hold or restrain the child, otherwise you lose your job.
So Janine, actually you have just told me that you have the children of special needs. So don't you separate the students with the special needs and to the rest of the students? Don't you have the special schools designed exclusively for those students who have the special needs?
Yeah, no, they closed all those and they put them all back into normal classes, and it doesn't really work, to tell you honestly. There's some kids that just cannot be in a normal classroom, and the classroom just doesn't fit, because the teacher also has to plan for the special needs children as well.
So lastly, these are the kids. They practice English almost every day like this. And as you know that I invite the teachers and the different personalities across the globe. So could you please tell us, do you think that these sessions that I have been organizing for these years useful to the students to expose to the world?
Yes, I think so. And I think I could understand most of the questions too. So you did very well in your actual spoken questions. I think there's a big improvement. You've slowed down enough, because and one thing, I'm older, so my ears are older, but also, yeah, very clear. Some students were a little bit clearer than others, but no, very good. So I think you're doing a brilliant job. So just keep going with it.
Thank you so much. And before we end this session, could you please give a final message to my students?
Right, so the world is your oyster. So the main thing is to work your hardest, find out what you're passionate about, and go for it. And if you want to go to other countries, you need to work very hard, and you need to keep working on achieving and passing exams. Okay?
Yeah, and last but not least, could you please offer a few tips how they can improve their English other than this platform?
I think the main thing is to do this sort of thing. Practice with other people who are English speakers, and yeah, this is a very good format for that. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Janine, for your time, and I hope that you have had a great day today. Yeah, what's that? Could you please?
This is our kiwi bird. We're called kiwis.
Oh.
After this bird here that lives in the forest of New Zealand.
Yes.
So it's called a kiwi bird. It's pretty dumb. It's got a long beak and it's got no wings, and it's a ground bird. So we're called kiwis. Oh. So this is the kiwi saying goodbye from New Zealand.
Yes. Could you please show a little outdoor activity for my students? Outdoor. Could you take us a little outside of your room so that we can?
Outside my house.
Yes.
Well, my house is very messy at the moment. This is from my lounge. Can you see?
Oh, what a beautiful sight.
Yeah. My house is very messy, so I just won't show you that.
Okay.
So I've got 2 lounges in my house. Sorry, it's a bit messy because I've been working. But I'll show you my backyard.
You have a wonderful lawn. Yes. It's a great garden. Looking so nice.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Bye.